Hey everybody! Hey! Today I'm going to be ranking every One Direction solo album. So all the albums that the boys have released apart from One Direction. In the past I've ranked every One Direction song and every song in both Louis and Harry's discographies. So I thought this would be fun. I don't know, I thought it would be fun. Okay. I want to talk about some of these albums, but I don't feel like ranking every single song in another artist's discography right now because that takes a lot out of me. The decision fatigue I feel after filming those videos is insane. My life is so hard. I also thought it would be fun. When I rank the album, I'm also gonna give you my top 3 songs from said album. So, let's get into it. Here's the tier list. Here's the tiers we're working with today, okay? As always, in S tier, our top tier, we have God tier. These albums are just miles better than all the rest of the albums in this list, okay? Next, we have Well, yes. Like, do I have to say anything more? Like, middle of the road, we have meh. After that, we have this could have been better. These albums could have been better. And I will get into why I think that for some of these. And then last up, our F tier is who approved this? Who let this go out into the public to be heard by millions of people? Those are our tiers. I'm gonna do each boy separately. Let's start with Zayn. He was the first to release an album out of all the boys because he did in fact leave the band. First up, we have Mind of Mine by Zayn. This album came out in 2016. I love this cover so much. It's so funny. It's so cute though. Like this photo of him is so adorable. I think this album, it was great for a debut. Majority of these boys had an incredible first album run. Zayn Malik, Mind of Mine, it gave exactly what needed to be given. That sounds insane, but you get what I'm trying to say. It was good. It was great, actually. And I'm really debating God tier. Something crazy he does with these titles is the fact that they're like alternating capital and lowercase, and it really fucks up my brain reading them, but I think it's quirky, it's fun. Like, very 2016, you know? Okay, my top 3 off this album are gonna be She. I'm telling you guys, when a One Direction member has a song called She, it's going to hit. Also Wrong featuring Kehlani. I love her music. And this feature is so good. You're looking in the wrong place. I also love Like I Would. Low-key, this should have been the first song off the track. Like, Hey What's Up, It's Been a While is insane to open up an album with after leaving like the biggest boy band ever. Like, that is such a power move and I would have ate that up. I might have to put Mind of Mine in God tier because I really do think it is a standout album for him and his discography. It's just song after song, hit after hit. Take it out, take it off. How could I forget about that one? That song's good too. This song makes me want to shake ass. Like, I'm sorry, it does. It does. I just wanna let you. Oh, this album is so hot. That's all I can say is this album is so hot. And I'm gonna leave it in God tier for a minute, okay? Let me just let this marinate and I'll decide if I want to change it up or not. But for now, Mind of Mine is in God tier. Okay, let's go into Zayn's sophomore album, Icarus Falls, released in 2018. I'm pretty sure at some point I said that Icarus Falls is my favorite album from Zayn. And now that I have listened to all of his albums in full, I don't know why I said that. I'm not sure why I thought that when, first of all, Mind of Mine is 10 times better than Icarus Falls. Honestly, Nobody Is Listening also is better, but this album has too many songs. This album has 29 songs. Like, why? That's crazy. There are a lot of great songs on here, but there are also a lot of like, songs, you know? Favorites off this album, however, are Back to Life, Rainberry. I do love me some Rainberry. Still Got Time featuring Party Next Door. Oh, why are we not talking about that song? Why are we not talking about it? And I'm really debating This Could Have Been Better. I don't know, dude. Do people like this album? Because when I said Icarus Falls was my favorite, people were like, that's crazy. Now I understand. I'm like, that was a crazy take and not true. I don't believe that anymore. I'm gonna put Icarus Falls and This Could Have Been Better. Okay, because I truly do believe there are too many songs on this album. The not so great ones are really dragging down how good some of these songs actually are. Does that make sense? Okay, next up for Zayn, we have Nobody Is Listening, which I recently did react to. And I think in that video, again, I don't think it came across how much I actually did enjoy that album. Maybe at the first listen, I wasn't really connecting with it, but I have gone back and listened to it. I love it. I really do love it. Okay, my favorite from Nobody Is Listening, first up is Gotta Go to Vibes. Like, Don't Keep Me Waiting, you know? Okay, Vibes. Love it. Sweat, another favorite. My third favorite off this album, I think I'm gonna go with Windowsill featuring Devlin. This song really grew on me. I love the instrumental in this song. I don't know what it is. I think this album, it was the perfect comeback from Icarus Falls. feels, because this album only has 11 songs on it, it feels really flushed out and really like realized as an album, like really thought out and like purposeful. Icarus Falls, I think maybe was just released to be released. All that being said, damn, I'm gonna put Nobody Is Listening, and well, yes! I don't think it can beat Mind of Mine, but it is a damn good comeback. Did I say this was released in 2021? So this is 3 years after Icarus Falls. And damn, he took those 3 years and really put his into this. Yeah, his Zayn-nacy, if you will. Okay, last up for Zayn, we have his newest release, Room Under the Stairs, released in 2024. Also have a reaction to this album up on my channel. This album actually very much surprised me. I love this album, period. I love this album. I think it was so well done. If you're gonna be ambitious enough to change up your genre, like really take a 180 and kind of flip your known genre on its head, this is how you do it. Take notes. I was a little nervous hearing that it might be a bit country, but I love it. Absolutely one of my albums of the summer. Okay, my favorite songs off this album, obviously we're gonna go with Stardust. If you've seen that reaction, you know how much I love that song. Also, False Starts, and Something in the Water. And I am heavily debating putting this in God tier because I really do think that he deserves his flowers for this album. He deserves recognition for being able to basically sing whatever the fuck he wants and make it sound good. I'm gonna put it in God tier. Maybe that's crazy, but I'm gonna leave it there for now. Maybe I'll move it down, depending on where the other albums go. We'll see. All right, let's give it up for Mr. Harry Styles.
Mama, a girl behind you.
Yep. Let's get into Harry's discography. First up, his debut album, Harry Styles Self-Titled, released in 2017. Yeah, immediately I'm putting this in God tier. Hey, I'm putting this in God tier immediately. Okay. Immediately deserving of God tier. Everything about this album is perfection to me. The cover especially is maybe one of my favorite covers of all time. Definitely favorite cover, I think, out of this entire bunch. This album genuinely is like the perfect mixture of like hot, sexy, horny, and vulnerable. And honestly, that's what I'm looking for in an album, okay? That is exactly what I'm looking for, is that balance, and that's this album. I genuinely think every song on this album is perfect. He could not have done any better for a debut album. It is so hard for me to pick a top 3 out this album because I could justify every song being in a top 3. Ever Since New York is my favorite though. I can say it is my favorite. Only Angel, Carolina, and Woman, I'm like constantly going back and forth between them being my favorites, but I love those two so much. And I mean, Kiwi is such an iconic song. How could you not mention it? And Sign of the Times, it deserves to be in God tier. It deserves actually to be above God tier, whatever that is. Okay, moving on to Harry's second album, Fine Line, released in 2019. I was talking about this with a friend the other day about like a sophomore album slump and what that really means, because a lot of my favorite artists, majority of my favorite artists, do not fall victim to this sophomore album slump phenomenon, where basically it means that like your second album is not going to live up to the hype that maybe your first album set up. Like the first album was so much better than the second album. There's no comparing. I was trying to think. I'm like, there are so many artists that I listen to where their sophomore album is just so incredible. Ariana Grande, My Everything, incredible. Inhaler, Cuts and Bruises, amazing. Niall Horan, Heartbreak Weather, you're joking. We'll get to her. Louis Tomlinson, Faith in the Future, like, oh my god, so good. But then when I think about like a sophomore slump, I'm like, Zayn definitely fell victim to a sophomore slump, clearly. And then my friend was like, well, you know, honestly, Fine Line by Harry Styles, the album didn't really do it for me. And I'm like, whoa. Every time I talk about Fine Line, I do get a few people that are like, I can't get into it. I don't like it. For a long time, I was like, shut your damn mouth. That is my baby. You can't talk about her like that in front of me. Don't do that. But then like really looking at this album and breaking it down, it's not that great. It's not that great, and I'm so sorry. There are definitely 100% standout songs from this album that make it good, but like, compared to his other albums, I think this album feels all over the place. It feels not very cohesive. The vibes for this album are just a little kooky, which I know he enjoys sometimes, but I don't know. Really, objectively looking at this album, it is not his best work. That being said, my favorite songs off this album, She. Again, like I mentioned with Zayn, She is really good. Lights Up. Lights Up has such a special place in my heart that song alone, honestly, is maybe skewing my opinion of this album, where I'm like, no, it's not bad. My third favorite, Adore You, I also really do like. Oh, and the song Fine Line. The song Fine Line, I think, is one of his best works. But then a lot of these songs just fall flat for me, and I don't think they're that great. Treat People with Kindness, hate it. I think I actually can say I hate that song so much, and I don't care. I am really thinking that Fine Line is gonna go in bed. Hate Me All You Want. Let me know what you guys think about this album, because I have been so torn lately trying to decide if I like it as much as I thought I did, and I don't think I do. Okay, last up for Harry, we have Harry's House, his 2022 album, which I believe is my first reaction video on this channel, which is crazy. Like, she really started it all. This was summer 2022, okay? Love on Tour is in full swing. Oh my god, just the vibe. I need the word vibe tattooed on my forehead. I say it so fucking often. But truthfully, the vibes for this album are immaculate. Like, they're incredible. I think this album is so cohesive. As it was. Like, I think As It Was, the song, it definitely top 5 Harry songs. Like, it is so good. When Harry Styles released As It Was, there was a shift in his music. That's why I'm very excited to see what he does next. Although I have been begging for another self-titled-esque rock style album, I would not mind if he went with this direction again, because I think he did this so well and it's so fun and playful, but real still, like raw and real. Favorites off this album, immediately Satellite. Satellite, those satellite stomps, yes, yes. And then Grape Juice, also Grape Juice is so good. Daylight's also good, As It Was is good, Cinema's good. Like, every song off this album except Matilda I could say is my favorite. Harry's House, where am I gonna put her though? I think I'm gonna put Harry's House in well, yes. Well, yes. The entire album could be summed up as a well, yes. And that's exactly what I'm looking for this category. Yeah. All right, who's next? We got Niall. I have been listening to so much Niall Horan. I think just because I miss Tour. I miss Tour so much. Hello, the show live on tour. This was the first time I ever got to see Niall live, and truly it ignited something in me. I have found a whole new love for Niall. I've always kind of liked his music, but after seeing him live and hearing him perform and seeing him, it like one of the only concerts I've actually like cried at, because I'm like, this is so special, and like his music is so, it's going to hit it's so good. I love Niall, I love him so much. Let's start. Niall's debut album Flicker, released in 2017. This album cover freaks me out. I hate this album cover. This album cover is scary. Like, give him brown contacts. I know, saying that as a blue-eyed person, give him brown contacts. I do like this album. I think it is a little too maybe too acoustic vibes. Let's see, my favorites off this album, what are they? Mirrors is my #1. On the Loose too. His singles, he knows how to pick a damn single, because his singles go hard, okay? And then my third favorite is Since We're Alone. I don't know what made you so afraid. Back when we were in like One Direction days, I don't think Niall had the strongest of voices, but like Louis, once both Niall and Louis found their sound and what fit their voices best, and as they like matured, both as artists and as people, something shifted, and they are standout artists who I think are doing so well in their solo career. Like, the progression from like Niall and Louis' first albums to their other albums is insane. Flicker though, I am going to put her, where am I going to put her? I'm gonna put Flicker in meh. I don't think it's bad. I just think in comparison, not only to the albums up in those top 2 tiers, but to his other albums, it is not really there. Okay, which is fine. That's understandable. As a first album, you are meant to grow, which is exactly what he does. Moving into his sophomore album, Heartbreak Weather, released in 2020. Guys. Thinking about it, this is my favorite Niall Horan album. Yeah, and I've always said that. This being released March 13th, 2020 is insane, because that is the day I remember COVID starting. Like, that is the day the world shut down. Niall actually released one of the best albums ever, and then the world was like, we can't handle it. We actually can't. We need to lock down. We need to everyone needs to stay inside and listen to Heartbreak Weather. I love this title so much, and the accompanying song, like the title track of the album, is so delicious. I love it so much. And this cover eats. Okay, picking my favorite songs off this album is impossible, low-key, because all of them. Hey, all of them. Okay, Small Talk and Everywhere. Everywhere? You walk into the room, I go quiet. Oh, Cross Your Mind too. Again, another single that eats. This may be one of his best songs. Hearing it live, it did something to me. It did something to me. It changed my life. Oh, Screaming Not. Guys, I'm gonna break down right now. I am literally gonna start crying. Hey, have we ever thought about how good this song is? We as a society have done Niall Horan wrongs for so many years by not paying enough attention to him. And I do feel it is all my fault. We need to give Niall Horan more attention because he deserves it. I love him. Oh, another fave I have to shout out is San Francisco. Just like my attachment to San Francisco as a place in general. I actually made a playlist recently called, oh my god, Bay Area, but it's B-A-E area. And it's only songs about San Francisco. Hey, I might be crazy, but I do know how to make a good playlist. Oh my god, I haven't even ranked Heartbreak Weather yet. It's going in God tier, guys. Could you not tell where that was going? Last up for Niall, we have The Show, which was released in 2023. This is his latest album. And I think when I listened to this album for the first time, it really solidified in me the fact that I have not been paying Niall enough attention. He's one of those artists who I listened to the music, but I don't think it clicked how much I actually liked it. So now I feel like I'm making up for lost time by only listening to his music. And it's actually doing me so well. Like, I feel like I'm actually like living my best life. The Show by Niall. The vibes are there. The color scheme, incredible. Like, I cannot get over this shirt. He has some of the best merch, if not the best merch out of all the boys. I think it's so cute and I wanted to buy it all. Anyways, The Show, short album, but it did what it needed to do. This album is it makes me want to be in love. It makes me want to be in love like Niall Horan is in love. You know what I mean? I love it, I love it, I love it. I love it, I love it. No, not this. Okay, my favorites off The Show. If You Leave Me, Must Be Love also. And then third favorite is going to be Never Grow Up. I heard Never Grow Up live. I didn't realize how much I love that song until I was standing there sobbing listening to him sing it. It's so cute. This album is just so cute. Okay, The Show I'm gonna put in well, yes. It is very close to being God tier for me, but I think compared again to Heartbreak Weather, it doesn't compare. So I have to make that difference. Niall has been releasing an album every 3 years, and you know what? If it takes another 3 years to get an album as good as Heartbreak Weather and The Show, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with take your time, baby. I'll take your time. Yeah. That's it for Niall. So let's go on to Liam, who only has one album released. LP1 by Liam Payne, released in 2019. His only album with a total of 18 songs. Again, too many songs on an album, but we'll get into it. First of all, I reacted to this album a bit ago, and I think it's pretty clear that Liam is my least favorite member of One Direction. I just don't really respect him, I don't think. I have a lot of issues with Liam, not as an artist, but as a person, and you know what? That is just my opinion of him. Think what you want about people. Don't be mad at me because I don't like him, and that's fine. You're allowed to not like people. I'm still going to talk about this album objectively as an album. When listening to this album, it really was hard for me to listen all the way through. As an album, it is not that good. Again, he does have some songs in here that I'm like, okay, I could get into this. I could get behind this. It feels messy. I think that's the best word to describe it. There's not a lot of cohesion. It just feels like he wrote a bunch of songs and was like, yeah, let's do them all. I don't know if I would say I like songs off this album, but if I had to pick, let's see, I would go with Get Low. Get Low's a classic. Say It All might be like my favorite if I had to pick. Say what you want, say what you want, girl, you got me. And then my third favorite, let's go with Weekend. If every song on this album sounded like this, I could get behind it. This album is really conflicting to me because I think if he had just taken a little bit more time to fine-tune this album and have someone tell him that he doesn't need to put out all these songs at once, it could have been a solid album for him. I'm putting this album in Who Approved This just for those reasons alone. Oh my god, no. Heart Meet Break, if y'all remember, if you've seen the video where I react to that song, the full body reaction I had to that song is actually so funny because this song gets stuck in my head all the time. Out of every song off this album, that song is the one that gets stuck up here and I can't get it out of my head. There's something about it that is really easily, it's clung to my brain. Let's move on to our last boy, which is Mr. Louis Tomlinson. Go Tomo, go. My literal bestie. Actually, here's the thing. Harry's my bestie, right? That's my bestie right there. Louis my man. Don't get it twisted, okay? When I think about Louis Tomlinson, I blush, and then I have to put myself in timeout. Because, what? Huh? Unprovoked blushing over a man that I've never met, who doesn't know I exist. Yeah, that deserves a timeout, for sure, for sure. Louis' first album, Walls, released in 2020. This is a great album. I think it's a great album. It's not his best. I do believe Faith in the Future, his second album, is his best album, simply due to the growth you hear in his style and his sound. He really finds his sound in Faith in the Future. Walls is still great. He knows what he's doing, right? It took him the longest out of all the boys to release an album because I think he was really putting in the work. And also, if you've watched his documentary, he was going through other shit also. You can tell he really cares. And I love that because it shows in these songs. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Hey, I'm gonna cry over Louis Tomlinson. Okay, my favorite songs. Only the Brave. It's always gonna be a fave. It's always gonna make me cry. Another is We Made It. Because we made it. Okay, and then Fearless. This album, however, I'm debating meh. Unfortunately, I'm debating meh. I'm putting it in well, yes. You can't stop me. It's crazy when I think about Louis because back in the One Direction days, Harry, like I said, was my #1. But like, post One Direction, like as I'm growing older, I'm like, maybe Louis is actually my #1. him because I loved him in One Direction. I was always I was a Louis defender through and through, okay? I'm like, his name's Louis and you can't talk shit about his voice. Let me hear you sing, okay? You know, that was my vibe. And so as I'm growing older, I'm like, maybe I'm shifting and Louis is my bias. You know, I really connect with his solo music. I love it so much, and I love him as a performer, as an artist. I think that the connection he has built between us and him is something that is so special and unbreakable, and he knows. Oh my god, it's gonna make me cry. What is up? I have teared up 3 times in this video, 2 times over Louis. That's insane. I'm insane. Hey, let's not do that. I don't know where I was going with that. I have like a really good point. I know I had a really good point with that. Right. Okay, I have no idea what I was gonna say. Moving on, our last album, Louis' second album, Faith in the Future, released in 2022. Before anything else, I'm putting this in God tier. Hey, it's going in God tier. I love this album, I think, more than life itself. When I listened to this for the first time, I was so blown away. The lyrics in these songs, the instrumentals in these songs, the vocal, like everything is so spot on. Okay, my favorites, Lucky Again, All This Time also. Holding On to Heartache might be my favorite though. My plan for tonight is actually going to be rewatching All of Those Voices and sobbing. Hey, that's what I'm gonna get up to tonight. What are you guys gonna do? That's what I'm gonna do. That was me ranking every One Direction solo album. Don't know how I was able to draw it out for that long, but I did. I just love yapping about these boys. I love them so much. There are truly no important men in my life besides these 5. Like, they really changed the direction of my life. If they were not a thing, I don't know where the f I would be. I don't know who I would be. They were my first personality trait. Think about that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts. If you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up. You can also subscribe down below for more videos from me. With that being said, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get out of here, so I'll see y'all later. Okay, bye.